The Power of Subconscious Mind. Written and published by United Sports. There is a silent force within every human being, a force that operates every second, every hour, and every single day, without noise, without permission, and often without awareness. It's the silent engine that determines success or failure, happiness or misery, health or illness. This force is none other than the subconscious mind. While the conscious mind analyzes, calculates, and plans, the subconscious mind acts. It's the builder, the doer, the one that silently accepts and executes the thoughts you feed it. Understanding this power isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for those who want to unlock their full potential. The human mind is divided into two powerful realms, the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind is what you use to make decisions, hold conversations, and plan your day. But the subconscious? That's the deep sea beneath the surface. It stores every memory, every belief, every emotional experience since childhood. It accepts whatever it is told repeatedly, without argument, without judgment. And that's exactly why most people live their entire lives stuck in cycles they don't even realize they created themselves. Think about this. If your conscious mind is the captain of the ship, your subconscious mind is the crew. The captain gives the command, but it's the crew that does all the work. The problem arises when the crew is acting on outdated or harmful instructions, things you've picked up from fear, failure, trauma, or negative environments. Without awareness, you might still be giving your subconscious the same instructions that have kept you from moving forward all your life. What most people fail to understand is that the subconscious mind doesn't work by logic, it works by belief. If you've repeatedly told yourself you're not good enough, that you're unlucky, or that success is for other people, not you, then your subconscious will accept that as truth. And once it's accepted, it will do everything in its power to keep proving that belief right. That's why changing your life must begin with changing what the subconscious mind believes. This is not about wishful thinking. It's about real, scientific principles. Neuroscience has proven that the brain forms new neural pathways based on repeated thoughts, emotions, and experiences. This means that every time you repeat a positive or negative thought, your subconscious starts wiring it into your identity. Over time, that thought becomes a belief. And beliefs, when planted deep enough, become automatic behavior. This is how we shape our destiny, thought by thought, belief by belief. Many people chase external changes without ever realizing that the root of all transformation lies inside. You can change your job, your city, your relationships, but if you don't rewire what your subconscious mind believes about you, the same patterns will follow you everywhere. That's why those who master their subconscious mind seem unstoppable. They don't rely on motivation, they rely on mental programming that fuels their actions day and night. The subconscious doesn't sleep. It works 24/7, even when you do not. It controls your heartbeat, your breathing, your digestion, and more importantly, your automatic responses to life. If you've ever reacted in anger or fear without knowing why, it's because the subconscious has been trained to respond that way. But here's the powerful truth. What has been trained can be retrained. What has been programmed can be reprogrammed. And that is where the journey begins. This audiobook is not just about learning, it's about awakening. Awakening to the reality that the life you're living now is a reflection of the programming you've accepted until now. But the best part? You can change that programming starting today. It's not a matter of talent or intelligence, it's a matter of awareness, repetition, and commitment to inner change. Once you understand the power of the subconscious, you no longer remain a victim of circumstance. You become the creator of your future. United Sports brings this message to you not just as inspiration, but as transformation. Our goal is to help you unlock the dormant power that lives within you. And the key to unlocking that power is your subconscious mind. In the upcoming parts of this audiobook, you will be guided through practical, simple, and life-altering lessons that will help you reprogram your inner world, and in doing so, change your outer world permanently. If you've been wondering why your life feels stuck in repetition, why success always seems just out of reach, or why deep change feels impossible, then you're standing at the edge of a breakthrough. Because the answers don't lie outside, they lie deep within. This audiobook will guide you step by step into that inner world. Each part will peel back the layers that block your progress. Each chapter will move you closer to mastering the one force that decides your reality, your subconscious. And remember, nothing changes until the mind changes. No habit, no behavior, no result. But once the subconscious shifts, the transformation becomes automatic. This is not motivation for a day, this is mental reprogramming for a lifetime. The journey begins now. If this message touched you, then stay with us. Like, share, and subscribe to United Sports for more powerful and practical knowledge to change your life. This is only the beginning. Part 2 will take you deeper into how your subconscious mind shapes your everyday reality. Your breakthrough is coming. How your subconscious shapes your reality. The subconscious mind is not just a storage system for thoughts and memories. It is a mirror that reflects what is buried deep within. It does not choose what to accept or reject. It simply follows the patterns it has been given over time. These patterns become habits, and habits become your life. If someone feels unworthy of success, that belief will silently shape every action they take, and even the opportunities they attract or miss. From the moment we are born, our subconscious begins recording every experience, every emotion, and every word spoken around us. As children, we are most vulnerable to this programming because our conscious mind hasn't fully developed. That's why childhood experiences are so powerful. They become the foundation of our identity. A single comment like, "You're not smart enough," can echo for decades if left unchecked. The subconscious mind controls about 95% of our daily behavior. That means most of what we do, think, and feel is not driven by conscious choice, but by automatic responses that were programmed long ago. If someone has a fear of public speaking, it's likely because their subconscious associates it with pain or embarrassment from the past, even if they don't consciously remember why. Reality, as we experience it, is not just what happens to us. It's how we respond to what happens. And that response is largely dictated by the subconscious. Two people can face the same challenge, but one grows stronger while the other breaks down. The difference is not in the event, it's in the programming. If your subconscious mind believes you're not capable, every time you try something new, it will find reasons to hold you back. You'll feel resistance, doubt, or fear, and you won't even know why. On the surface, it seems like bad luck or low confidence, but underneath, it's your own mind pulling the strings without your awareness. This is why many people feel stuck, even when they're working hard. They think they need more effort, but what they really need is different programming. The key to true progress is not pushing harder, but going deeper. When the subconscious is aligned with your goals, things start to flow naturally. Action becomes easier, fear begins to fade, and success feels possible. Everything you attract into your life, people, situations, even outcomes, is shaped by the vibration you send out. And that vibration is not controlled by your conscious mind alone. It is heavily influenced by what your subconscious believes to be true about you and the world. If it believes the world is full of scarcity, you will experience lack. If it believes there's abundance, you will find opportunity. Positive thinking works only when it reaches the subconscious level. Simply saying, "I'm confident," won't help if your inner programming screams, "I'm not good enough." That's why affirmations, when done with belief and repetition, become powerful. They sink into the subconscious and create new beliefs over time. The good news is that the subconscious can be reprogrammed. It is not fixed. With repeated exposure to new thoughts, emotions, and experiences, the brain begins to form new neural pathways. These new connections eventually override the old ones. This is the science behind transformation. One of the fastest ways to influence the subconscious is through emotion. When a thought is tied to strong emotion, whether positive or negative, it sinks deeper. That's why painful memories stay with us for years, and why exciting goals can drive us to action. Emotion is the language of the subconscious. Visualization is another powerful tool. When you imagine a goal vividly and consistently, your subconscious begins to accept it as real. The brain doesn't fully distinguish between real and imagined experiences. So when you visualize with clarity and emotion, you're training your subconscious to believe in a new version of reality. Repetition is also critical. Just like a song stuck in your head after hearing it many times, repeated thoughts and messages eventually become beliefs. That's why daily practice is so important. A few minutes a day of focused affirmations, visualization, or meditation can reshape your mental landscape over time. Beliefs are not facts. They are thoughts you've repeated enough times for the subconscious to accept. And any belief, no matter how deep, can be changed. This means you have the power to rewrite your identity, your habits, and your life, starting right now. Sometimes the only reason we don't change is because we've never questioned what we believe. We've accepted limitations, not realizing they were handed to us by parents, teachers, media, or past experiences. But once we become aware, we gain power. Awareness is the beginning of freedom. Your environment plays a big role in shaping your subconscious. The people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, and the conversations you engage in are all feeding your inner world. If you want to grow, Surround yourself with things that support the new beliefs you want to build. Your subconscious mind doesn't care if a belief is good or bad, helpful or harmful. It only cares if it's been repeated often enough. That's why it's so important to become intentional about what you allow in. Every thought, every word, and every emotion you focus on is planting seeds. Start noticing your patterns. Observe how you react to stress, failure, or opportunity. Those reactions will show you what your subconscious really believes. And once you become aware, you can choose differently. You can pause, reflect, and respond from a higher place. Growth is not about becoming someone new. It's about removing the old programming that never belonged to you in the first place. Beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and limitation is a version of you that is already powerful, already worthy, already enough. The subconscious just needs to remember. United Sports is here to remind you that true power doesn't come from outside, it rises from within. When you master your subconscious, you master your life. Every change you desire begins with belief. Every transformation starts in the mind. And the most important step is always the next one. Reprogramming your mind for success. The subconscious mind doesn't argue. It accepts what it's told over and over again. That's why the first step to reprogramming it is to become aware of the words, thoughts, and beliefs you feed it daily. If someone keeps saying, "I can't," the subconscious quietly records it as a fact. Over time, that person starts living according to that limitation without even realizing it. The mind acts on what it believes to be true. So, if success is the goal, the programming must align with success, not fear, not doubt. Reprogramming begins with one powerful truth: thoughts become things. Every thought you repeat is like a seed. If you feed it with emotion, attention, and repetition, it grows roots in your subconscious. A thought once rooted becomes a belief becomes a habit, and a habit becomes a way of life. Success doesn't begin with hard work alone. It begins with the right mental soil. One of the simplest ways to influence the subconscious is through repetition. That's why affirmations work. Not because they're magical words, but because they're repeated signals to the subconscious. When someone says, "I am confident," even if they don't believe it yet, they are training their mind to accept a new idea. The subconscious responds to consistency. It begins to see a new pattern and, with time, adopts it as truth. Visualization is another powerful method. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. If a person visualizes their goals daily with clarity and emotion, the subconscious starts to believe that success is already happening. This belief then influences actions, decisions, and behaviors in the real world. People who visualize themselves winning, growing, or overcoming challenges often end up living exactly that reality. Habits are the daily rituals that shape who we become. Most people operate from habits they never chose, they inherited them from their environment. But reprogramming means creating intentional habits. Morning routines filled with positive thoughts, empowering words, and focus can shift the subconscious from survival mode to success mode. A strong morning routine sets the tone for the entire day. The company one keeps also plays a massive role in mental programming. If a person is surrounded by negativity, complaining, and fear-based thinking, their subconscious absorbs that energy. But when they place themselves in environments of encouragement, growth, and possibility, the subconscious adapts accordingly. Environment matters. The subconscious listens not just to words, but to energy. Silence and stillness also have power. In moments of quiet, the mind reveals what's truly going on beneath the surface. Meditation, deep breathing, or just sitting in silence helps bring subconscious patterns into awareness. Once seen, these patterns can be replaced. Reprogramming starts with noticing what needs to change and choosing a new path intentionally. Gratitude is one of the fastest ways to rewire the subconscious. When a person practices daily gratitude, their focus shifts from what's missing to what's already working. This positive focus teaches the subconscious that life is abundant, not lacking. And when the mind believes life is abundant, it starts to create more of what is good, valuable, and fulfilling. Every word matters. The subconscious doesn't understand sarcasm or jokes the same way the conscious mind does. When someone says, "I'm so stupid," even playfully, the subconscious hears it as truth. This is why speaking to oneself with respect and kindness is not just emotional, it's mental training. Words are commands to the subconscious. Failures and setbacks are powerful moments to reprogram the mind. Instead of saying, "I failed," a person can say, "I learned." Instead of, "I can't," they can say, "I'm learning how." Each time the subconscious is fed a hopeful message during a tough moment, it gains strength. Reprogramming is not about pretending life is perfect. It's about choosing powerful meanings during imperfect moments. Self-image is the blueprint the subconscious follows. If someone sees themselves as small, weak, or undeserving, the subconscious builds a life to match that image. But if that image is strong, confident, and deserving, the subconscious aligns with that version. That's why it's important to repeatedly see oneself as who they want to be, not who they've been in the past. Belief is everything. When a person truly believes they can change, grow, or succeed, the subconscious kicks into gear to help make that happen. Belief opens the door to potential. Doubt slams it shut. Reprogramming the subconscious requires developing unshakable belief, even when circumstances say otherwise. Many people look for change outside themselves. They wait for luck, money, or opportunities. But the truth is, external change follows internal reprogramming. When the subconscious believes a person is ready, valuable, and capable, the world begins to reflect that belief back to them. Reality changes when the inner story changes first. The subconscious is shaped most during emotional experiences. That's why moments of strong emotion, whether joy, pain, or fear, tend to leave the deepest mental imprints. Reprogramming means creating positive emotional experiences on purpose. This can be done through music, gratitude, purpose, or helping others. Positive emotion locks in powerful programming. Reading and listening to positive content daily is like feeding the subconscious high-quality fuel. Motivational audiobooks, uplifting stories, or inspiring lessons tell the subconscious, this is the direction we're going. What the mind consumes consistently becomes the direction it follows. That's why daily inspiration is not optional, it's necessary. Consistency is the secret. The subconscious doesn't change with one good thought. It changes with 1,000 repeated ones. It doesn't respond to motivation, it responds to patterns. That's why reprogramming isn't something that happens overnight. It's a lifestyle of intentional thoughts, words, and actions. Forgiveness is also part of reprogramming. Holding on to anger, regret, or guilt tells the subconscious to stay in the past. But letting go tells the mind, we're moving forward now. Forgiveness isn't about others, it's about freeing the subconscious from negative loops that block success. Every great achiever reprograms their mind, whether they know it or not. They speak differently, think differently, and behave in alignment with their goals. They don't wait for motivation, they build mental systems that pull them forward. And anyone can do the same. Reprogramming isn't reserved for the few, it's available to all. The journey is personal, but the principle is universal. Change the programming, and you change the results. From fear to confidence, from doubt to belief, from survival to success. It all begins in the subconscious. Reprogramming is not just possible, it's the path. In the next part, the lessons will go deeper into how repetition, affirmations, and visualization work together to permanently reshape the subconscious mind. Stay with United Sports, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more life-changing content. Your transformation has already begun. The role of repetition, affirmations, and visualization. The subconscious mind doesn't respond to effort or force, it responds to consistency and emotion. Repetition is the language it understands best. Just as muscles grow stronger through repeated exercise, the mind reshapes through repeated thoughts. A single positive thought may inspire you, but repeated positive thoughts can rewire your entire mental structure. Every belief you currently hold was once just a repeated thought. Maybe someone told you were not smart, or that success wasn't meant for people like you. You heard it enough times, either from others or from your own self-talk, and eventually, it became your truth. But here's the good news. Any belief formed through repetition can also be replaced through repetition. This is where affirmations come into play. Affirmations are not just feel-good phrases. They are tools, powerful ones, that help overwrite the old programming of the subconscious. When repeated with emotion and belief, affirmations begin to plant new seeds in the mind. Over time, these seeds take root, grow, and replace the weeds of doubt and fear. It's not about saying I am confident once and hoping something changes. It's about saying it over and over, especially when you don't feel confident, especially when doubt is loud. That's when your subconscious is listening the most, when you feel resistance. The moment you persist through that resistance, change begins. Visualization works alongside affirmations, creating powerful imagery for the subconscious to work with. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. When you visualize your goals, your future, or your best self with clarity and emotion, your subconscious begins to accept it as reality. Athletes, performers, And successful entrepreneurs use visualization daily. They see the victory before it happens. They rehearse the success in their minds until their subconscious accepts it as natural. That's why they move with such confidence, because in their inner world, they've already won. Combining repetition, affirmations, and visualization creates a system that speaks directly to the subconscious. It's like writing new software for your inner operating system. Slowly but surely, the old negative patterns are overwritten, and a new blueprint is installed, one aligned with your goals, dreams, and purpose. But this process takes patience. The subconscious resists change at first. It wants to stay in the comfort of the known, even if that known is failure or mediocrity. That's why the beginning feels hard. But the more you repeat, the more you visualize, the more the mind begins to shift. At first, it feels unnatural. Saying "I am successful" when you're struggling financially or emotionally feels like a lie. But that's only because your old programming is still active. Over time, with consistency, the feeling changes. What once felt like a lie begins to feel familiar. Then it begins to feel true. Then one day, it becomes your reality. This is the quiet power of repetition. It doesn't make noise. It doesn't announce change overnight. But it works underneath the surface, slowly building a foundation that becomes unshakable. That's why those who understand this process never give up. They know that transformation is not always visible at first, but it's always happening. Affirmations must be chosen with care. They should reflect not only what you desire but also who you are becoming. I am confident. I am focused. I am worthy. These statements aren't just words. They are declarations to the subconscious, carving new identity with each repetition. Visualization adds feeling to those words. When you see yourself achieving, winning, smiling, living fully, it activates emotion. And emotion is the fuel of the subconscious mind. The stronger the emotion, the deeper the impression. The deeper the impression, the faster the change. Even 5 minutes a day of focused affirmations and visualization can begin to shift your mental state. Morning and night are the best times when the mind is quiet and open. Speak your affirmations aloud. Close your eyes. See your best self. Feel the success. Trust that your subconscious is listening, recording, adjusting. There's no age limit for this. Whether you're 15 or 70, your subconscious is always working. And as long as you're alive, you can feed it new information. You can give it new instructions. And it will listen. It will follow. It always does. Many people give up too soon. They try affirmations for a few days. They visualize once or twice. When results don't come immediately, they quit. But mastery doesn't come in days. It comes through daily, repeated commitment to the inner process, until the inner world becomes stronger than the outer noise. Your subconscious cannot resist repetition forever. It will bend. It will adjust. And when it does, everything about your reality will begin to shift. Opportunities will appear. Confidence will grow. Fear will lose its grip. Not because the world changed, but because you changed. This change is permanent. It's not dependent on external motivation. Once the subconscious accepts a new belief, it defends it. It begins working for you, instead of against you. And when your inner world supports your outer actions, success becomes effortless. These lessons are simple, but they are life-changing. They don't require money, fame, or talent. They require belief, patience, and repetition. That's the formula. That's the path. And now, you know the way. So keep going. Keep speaking life into yourself. Keep seeing the version of you that you are becoming. The subconscious is always listening, and soon, it will obey. Breaking free from limiting beliefs and mental blocks. The subconscious mind holds more than just memories. It stores the beliefs that shape a person's identity. Many of those beliefs are created in childhood or during emotionally intense moments, and they often go unquestioned for years. Over time, these beliefs become the silent rules by which people live their lives, unaware that those rules may be the very chains holding them back. Limiting beliefs are thoughts that quietly whisper, "You're not good enough, you don't deserve that," or "This is the best you'll ever get." These beliefs don't announce themselves loudly. Instead, they show up in hesitation, fear, procrastination, and self-sabotage. They are like invisible walls that prevent people from stepping into the life they truly want, even when the door is wide open. These mental blocks are not based on truth. They're based on repeated suggestions the subconscious has accepted. If someone has failed a few times, the subconscious begins to assume that failure is normal and begins to expect it. This expectation becomes a belief, and beliefs become reality. The cycle repeats, not because a person is incapable, but because their mind was conditioned to expect struggle. To break free, one must first become aware of the hidden beliefs that are running the show. Ask simple but powerful questions. What do I believe about myself? What do I think I deserve? What patterns keep repeating in my life? Awareness is the first step toward liberation, because what is not seen cannot be changed. Once awareness is gained, the next step is to challenge those beliefs. Just because something has been believed for years doesn't make it true. Thoughts like, I'm not smart enough, or I'll never succeed, are not facts. They're decisions the subconscious mind has accepted through repetition or emotional impact. But beliefs can be rewritten. The subconscious learns through repetition and emotion. This means new beliefs must be spoken, felt, and lived consistently. If a person starts telling themselves every day, I am worthy, I am capable, I am enough, the subconscious begins to accept it. Not immediately, but gradually. With time, the new thoughts sink in and start to replace the old ones. One powerful method to break mental blocks is through visualization. When someone repeatedly imagines themselves succeeding, smiling, achieving, and living freely, the subconscious begins to believe that this is the new reality. The brain doesn't distinguish much between real and imagined experiences. What matters is the emotional intensity behind them. Affirmations are also an effective tool. These are positive statements said out loud or mentally, daily, to feed the subconscious a new script. But they must be consistent and filled with belief. It's not enough to say the words. The feeling behind the words is what makes the shift happen. I can do this must be said with a voice of strength, not doubt. Another key is self-compassion. The reason many people stay stuck in limiting beliefs is because they beat themselves up for having them. But healing begins with kindness. Understanding that these beliefs were formed as a way to cope or survive allows room for forgiveness. And when forgiveness enters the mind, transformation becomes possible. Sometimes, it helps to write limiting beliefs down and then question them. Where did this belief come from? Is it based on fact or fear? Who gave me this idea, and do I want to keep carrying it? Writing creates distance from the belief, and distance allows for clarity. Once questioned, many beliefs begin to crumble. Supportive environments also matter. The subconscious mind absorbs everything it's surrounded by: people's words, emotions, habits, and energy. Being around negative people or toxic spaces reinforces mental blocks. But being around uplifting people who see the best in you can begin to change the way you see yourself. Small wins help too. Taking action, even when afraid, proves to the subconscious that a new reality is possible. Each time a person steps out of their comfort zone and doesn't fail, the mind updates its belief system. These moments build confidence and create new inner programs. One step at a time, the mind begins to trust growth instead of fearing it. It's important to understand that limiting beliefs are not who a person is. They're just learned patterns. Patterns can be broken. A person may have believed they were powerless for years, but the moment they decide to reclaim their mind, they take the first step toward true power. There is no shame in having mental blocks. Every human being has them. The difference between those who stay stuck and those who break free is the willingness to question, rewrite, and replace. Freedom is not a single decision. It's a series of daily choices to think higher, speak stronger, and act braver. One of the most dangerous beliefs is I can't change. That belief alone has stopped millions of people from even trying. But the truth is, the brain is rewiring all the time. With the right thoughts, emotions, and habits, a completely new version of life is possible. The subconscious does not argue, it obeys. It does not know if something is good or bad, true or false. It simply accepts what is repeated. So if fear is repeated, it accepts fear. If courage is repeated, it accepts courage. This is the secret to breaking mental barriers, feeding the mind new commands, over and over again. The path forward is not about becoming someone else. It's about removing what never truly belonged. Doubt, fear, guilt, shame, these are not your identity. They are temporary clouds hiding the truth. And the truth is, you are powerful beyond measure. When someone finally says, enough, I will no longer accept these false beliefs, that is the moment their life begins to change. Not because the outside world changes, but because the inner world shifts. The subconscious begins to respond to the new direction, and reality begins to follow. Breaking free from limiting beliefs isn't always easy, but it is always worth it. Every time an old belief is let go, space is created for something better, something truer, something greater. And in that space, transformation takes root. As we move into the next part of this audiobook, the journey continues. Now that you've learned how to break the chains of old programming, it's time to align your subconscious with your greatest goals. Keep listening, keep growing, and if this message inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to United Sports. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. Aligning your subconscious with your goals. Once a person understands how the subconscious mind shapes reality, the next step is learning how to align it with the goals they truly want to achieve. This alignment doesn't happen by chance. It happens by deliberate design. When someone becomes aware that the subconscious runs most of their thoughts, emotions, and actions, they begin to see the importance of planting the right seeds in the right soil. Too many people set goals with their conscious mind, but allow their subconscious to hold onto beliefs that completely contradict those goals. For example, someone might consciously say they want to be successful, but subconsciously believe they're not worthy of success. In this inner conflict, the subconscious always wins. Why? Because it's more powerful, more consistent, and always active day and night. That's why the first and most important lesson in aligning the subconscious is clarity. Clarity of what one truly wants, not just what sounds good or looks good to others. When a goal is deeply desired from within and not borrowed from the outside world, the subconscious begins to listen. It senses emotion. It senses truth. And it responds to clarity with commitment. Once the goal is clear, repetition becomes the key. The subconscious doesn't understand complicated instructions. It responds to simple, emotional, and repeated messages. This is where affirmations come in, not as empty phrases, but as powerful reminders of the identity a person is choosing to create. Repeating statements like, "I am confident," "I am focused," or "I attract growth" slowly becomes part of one's internal system. Visualization is another powerful tool. When someone consistently visualizes their goals as already achieved, the subconscious begins to accept that image as reality. The mind cannot always tell the difference between real experience and imagined experience. So, by imagining success, peace, confidence, or abundance daily, a person starts to naturally act in ways that support those images. But visualization alone isn't enough. Emotion must be attached. When a person feels the joy of achieving a goal, even before it's physically real, the subconscious begins to lock that feeling in. It then works behind the scenes to bring about actions, decisions, and habits that match the emotional picture inside. The subconscious also responds to identity-based thinking. Instead of saying, "I want to become disciplined," the shift should be toward, "I am a disciplined person." This small but powerful change directs the subconscious to form patterns of behavior that reflect this new identity. The subconscious will always seek to remain consistent with the identity it has accepted. Belief is the fuel that drives all subconscious transformation. If someone doesn't believe they can achieve a goal, no amount of strategy will help. But belief doesn't have to be huge in the beginning. A small belief, nurtured daily, grows into confidence. The subconscious doesn't need loud declarations, it needs consistency and conviction. One of the biggest mistakes people make is setting goals but filling their mind with doubt, fear, or excuses. Every time someone says, "It's too hard," "I'm not ready," or "What if I fail?" they're programming their subconscious against their own desires. The solution is not to force positivity, but to become aware and gently redirect the mind toward what's possible. Environment plays a massive role as well. The subconscious picks up signals from everything: people, places, habits, and energy. When a person surrounds themselves with motivation, with others who believe in growth, with content that uplifts, they feed their subconscious powerful ingredients that support their goals. If the environment is toxic, no matter how strong the goal is, the subconscious will absorb that negativity. Daily routines become essential. A person who sets aside time to feed their mind, through reading, silence, reflection, or journaling, creates space for alignment. They start their day with intention, and intention is a language the subconscious understands deeply. It listens to what you focus on, especially during the first hour of the day and the last hour before sleep. Sleep is not just rest, it's programming time. Whatever thoughts dominate the mind before sleep sink deep into the subconscious. That's why many successful people use this time to affirm their goals, reflect on gratitude, or visualize success. It's a small shift that creates huge results over time. The journey is not always smooth. There will be days when the old programming tries to take over. But that's not failure, it's a signal that new patterns are forming. The subconscious resists change at first because it wants to protect you. But with patience, repetition, and trust, it will adapt to your new direction. People must also learn to listen to their internal signals. When something feels off, it's often the subconscious revealing a belief that needs attention. Don't ignore it. Examine it. Ask, what is this belief? And is it serving the life I want to create? That question alone can unlock powerful awareness. Forgiveness is another silent tool. Many goals are blocked because the subconscious holds on to resentment, shame, or regret. When someone forgives others, and more importantly, forgives themselves, they release that emotional weight. The mind becomes lighter, freer, and more open to receiving new possibilities. Gratitude aligns the subconscious with abundance. When a person makes gratitude a daily practice, not just for what they have, but for what's coming, they train the subconscious to focus on opportunities, not obstacles. Gratitude shifts energy from fear to faith. Another powerful practice is self-talk. The words a person uses every day shape their inner identity. Words like, I can, I will, I'm learning, or I'm getting better every day reinforce positive programming. The subconscious picks up these words like instructions and carries them out. Action is the final and most powerful reinforcement. The subconscious listens to action more than anything else. When a person takes even small steps toward their goals, the mind receives a message, this is who I am now. And with each step, the identity becomes stronger, the belief becomes deeper, and the goal moves closer. When the conscious and subconscious mind move in the same direction, results become natural. There's no longer inner resistance. There's flow. Goals are no longer something far away. They become part of one's identity, one's lifestyle, and one's destiny. That's the true power of aligning the subconscious with your goals. It's not about doing more. It's about becoming more. It's about working with the deepest part of your mind, instead of fighting against it. And once you do, you unlock a life of clarity, purpose, and unstoppable growth. Stay tuned with United Sports as we continue this life-changing journey. Like, share, and subscribe if this message speaks to your heart. In the next part, we will guide you to mastering your inner world, so that the life you live on the outside becomes a reflection of peace, strength, and unshakable focus within. Living consciously, mastering your inner world. When a person finally understands the power of the subconscious mind, something begins to shift. Life no longer feels like something that happens to them. It becomes something they create. They stop living on autopilot and start living with intention. They stop reacting and begin responding. This shift is the beginning of conscious living, and it is the final step toward mastering the inner world. Living consciously means becoming aware of the thoughts that pass through the mind. It means recognizing the beliefs that have been planted over years of repetition and experience. Most people go through life unaware that 95% of their actions, emotions, and decisions are being driven by subconscious programming. But awareness breaks the pattern. Awareness is the first spark of change. A conscious person no longer blames the world for their problems. They don't point fingers at others or complain about circumstances. Instead, they turn inward. They understand that every situation in life is a mirror reflecting their inner state. When they feel anger, fear, or frustration, they no longer run from it. They investigate it. They ask, what belief inside me created this feeling? That question alone transforms the moment. The power of conscious living lies in the present. The subconscious mind is programmed by what we repeatedly think, feel, and imagine right now, not what happened in the past or what might happen in the future. The present moment is where the power lives. Every thought in the present is a seed. And whatever seed you plant consistently, your subconscious will grow, without question. When someone learns to master their inner world, they begin to choose their thoughts as carefully as they choose their words. They know that repeating, I can't, or I'm not good enough, is no longer acceptable. They replace these with empowering thoughts, even if it feels unnatural at first. Why? Because they know the subconscious accepts repetition, not logic. They repeat greatness until greatness becomes natural. The mind, just like the body, needs training. No one becomes mentally strong by accident. It takes practice, just like lifting weights. It takes mental reps every day, repeating affirmations, visualizing the life they want, replacing negative thoughts with new ones, speaking life instead of defeat. These are not small steps, they are everything. Because over time, these small, consistent choices shape the subconscious forever. A person who lives consciously knows that emotions are signals, not commands. If they feel fear, they don't avoid it, they examine it. If they feel doubt, they don't obey it, they challenge it. They understand that the subconscious holds emotions from years ago, and only by facing them can they rewire the responses. Growth comes not by avoiding emotion, but by embracing it with awareness. They become intentional with what they consume, the music they listen to, the words they read, the people they allow in their space. They know that every input is programming the subconscious mind. So, they feed their mind with inspiration, with learning, with truth. They guard their mind the way one guards a treasure, because they know that's exactly what it is. Gratitude becomes a daily habit, not just a feel-good moment. They start their day by giving thanks, not because life is perfect, but because gratitude rewires the brain to see abundance instead of lack. And what the mind focuses on, it attracts. Gratitude, over time, becomes a magnet for more things to be grateful for. It is not a weakness, it is a weapon. The most powerful transformation happens when a person realizes they don't need to be someone else. They only need to uncover who they truly are. The subconscious has been buried under years of fear, comparison, and external pressure. But when someone starts peeling back the layers, they discover something incredible. They were always enough. Living consciously doesn't mean life is perfect. It means becoming the observer of the inner world. When mistakes happen, they learn. When emotions rise, they reflect. When setbacks hit, they reset. They no longer get trapped in emotional storms, because they know storms pass, but their control over the inner world remains. They no longer wait for motivation to act. Motivation is temporary. They understand that discipline comes from mental programming. They build a routine. They repeat habits. They stay consistent. Over time, the subconscious takes over and does the work even when they don't feel like it. That's the secret. The mind, once trained, becomes your greatest ally. Their vision becomes clearer. They know what they want. They write it down. They visualize it. They speak it. They live like it's already true. The subconscious doesn't care if it's real or imagined. It simply responds. And when the inner world believes something deeply enough, the outer world starts to shift in its favor. They stop waiting for a perfect time. They realize there is only now. The present moment is their greatest tool. Each second is an opportunity to rewire, to grow, to move forward. They don't need permission. They only need intention. The subconscious listens to what is repeated in the now, not someday, not later. Now. They create silence in their day. Even 5 minutes of quiet helps them connect to their deeper self. In the silence, they hear the voice of truth, the one that is not scared, not tired, not overwhelmed. That voice has always been there. But it was drowned out by noise. Living consciously means listening to it again. They become patient with the process. They understand that deep change takes time, and time is their friend. The subconscious mind doesn't change overnight, but with daily effort, it bends. And when it bends, it transforms the person entirely. They trust the process, because they know it's not about speed, it's about direction. They stop chasing approval. They no longer live for likes, for applause, for validation. They know who they are. They validate themselves from within. And the moment they do that, the need for outer validation disappears. They are free, not because the world changed, but because their mind did. They forgive not for others, but for themselves. They release the weight of the past. They understand that holding on to anger, guilt, or regret keeps the subconscious in a loop. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is the greatest act of strength. It clears the path for mental and emotional healing. And finally, they live with purpose. Not always a grand mission, but with intention, with clarity, with values. They do what aligns with their heart. They speak truth. They help others. They lead with kindness. They understand that living consciously isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. This is the power of mastering your inner world. This is the reward for understanding and reprogramming your subconscious mind. And this is what United Sports is here to remind you. Your greatest power was never outside of you. It was always within. Your mind is the key, and you hold it now. Like, share, and subscribe to United Sports for more life-changing insights. And always remember, master the mind, and you master your life. This is your moment. Keep going.